On Talk and Times Radio and Virgin as well, of course, starting with our coverage tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock, live and exclusive nationally on talkSPORT. It's Spurs versus Fulham. That and a whole lot more coming your way.
This has been one of the easiest 3 points that they've managed all season, Arsenal, and they've done it against their most fierce rivals.
Extremely painful to stand here after a bad performance. Can't talk away, don't want to talk away from that.
Thomas Frank's lost belief that we can win a game of football by going after a team.
Edge to the tee, plays it square, Wilson!
And it's finally the breakthrough for Fulham. Fulham 1, Sunderland 0.
Back in the right track after the last performance that was not a standard that should be away from home.
Mateta picks it up inside the area, and he scored again!
Palace are a good side, and they play their system as well as anybody I've seen.
There are boos inside Old Trafford on the anniversary of Ruben Amorim's first year in charge. Manchester United are beaten by Everton.
The Manchester United revival is officially over.
The only place to be is with game day.
And it's a late kick-off tomorrow night. It's 8 o'clock. It's Spurs versus Fulham. It's going to be a great game, a big game. Although I think 6 or 7 places separate them in the table. Only 4 points between Spurs and Fulham. And let's welcome to the show 2 top podcasters for those fine operations. Chris Cowlin, the Spurs Chat podcast host. He's been on the show many times. And let's welcome aboard Jack Kelly, Fulhamish podcast co-host and top Fulham journalist. Good morning, guys. Let's start with you, Chris. Spurs are being, I hesitate to say Spursy, being erratic, to put it mildly. And you want to avoid your rather torturous 3rd defeat in a row, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think that was quite polite, actually, Paul, for you. Yeah, it's been a terrible, terrible week. I've just come back from Paris, and 5 goals there, 4 goals at Arsenal last weekend, and what a week it's been. But
mind you, to be fair, I thought you really had a go and showed resilience.
Yeah,
pretty much throughout the game with PSG. The Arsenal thing was just a debacle, but I think against PSG, you proved you deserve to be in the Champions League.
Absolutely right. The Arsenal game, these were like chalk and cheese games, really, because the Arsenal game, lack of desire, lack of shots on target, XG of 0 in the first 45 minutes, didn't show any attacking intent. And then that PSG game set up completely differently, to go and score 3 goals away in Paris against the Champions League winners. It was a completely different contest, but, Spurs desperately need a win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We haven't won at home in the Premier League for 3 months since the opening day of the season, and we desperately need a win. 3 wins in our last 12 games, so we desperately need a win, especially at home.
And I think I'm right in saying, turning now to our pal, new friend Jack Kelly there for the Fulhamish podcast, and he's a top Fulham journalist as well. I think you've yet to win away this season. You've only managed a 1-1 draw with Brighton. I mean, it's the Silver's home form that's keeping you alive, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our away form has been surprisingly pretty bad, which is unlike us in recent years. But I think what we've been most proud of in the last 3 or 4 years is our home form, which is at the moment keeping us afloat. 3 wins at home. I think this season, like you say, 1 point away from home, and we go to a Spurs side who have got the worst home form in the league, apart from obviously Wolves.
Chris knows this. Only Wolves are worse than your mob, Chris, which is some consolation for Wolves, I'd have thought.
I know it's probably got a 1-1 draw written all over it, hasn't it? Yeah, Spurs a terrible home record, Fulham a terrible away record. So yeah, something's got to give. But I just hope that the fans are really behind the team on Saturday night, and we really do need a win, desperate for a win, and Thomas Frank is desperate for a win as well, especially in the Premier League at home.
Let me ask you this, Jack, about Fulham. What would be a successful season for you this year? Surely you want more than just survival.
Well, I mean, going into the season, we thought we could be in and around the European places. So I looked at the fixture list when it came out, and I thought that's a tough start. And I think all the results leading up to maybe the second international break were pretty much expected as to what you would think Fulham would get from those games. I think, albeit we've been unlucky with VAR a few times, of loads of injuries as well. So we've obviously after losing to Everton 2-0 and basically not having a prayer there at all, we picked up and got the win against Sunderland. But I think now it's all about. I don't think it's necessarily about survival per se, but I think if it keeps dragging on like this, we keep being down in 15th, 16th, it's going to change the expectations and the realism of what the season can bring. But I think that essentially we want to get up to mid-table and start looking beyond then. We're in a Carabao Cup quarter-final as well. Yeah. So there is an opportunity there, albeit we go to Newcastle, and obviously we saw Spurs fail at Newcastle a few weeks ago. And,
yeah, but Newcastle are also, I mean, they're only 1 point above you, and they're having a fairly dire season in their terms, with the overinflated, in my opinion, hyped up Eddie Howe not delivering.
No, the season's been really strange so far, where you've had a lot of teams you didn't expect to overperform have overperformed, and a lot of teams that you thought would be up there have sort of been down there ourselves in Newcastle. And I think that at some point it might even itself out. You know, you're seeing Burnley and Leeds struggle at the moment, and they're in the relegation zone, but Forest are coming good, West Ham are picking up points, and I think Fulham will do the same. I think we're good enough to be mid-table or above.
You've queued me up nicely there, Jack. That was Jack Kelly speaking from the Fulhamist podcast, to ask Chris Cowlin this question. Chris, Jack kind of mentioned what a weird season it seems to be. We have Spurs, Man United, Everton and Liverpool all on 18th, but they're 9th down to 12th place. You're looking up to, all of you at the moment, Sunderland and Crystal Palace, with no disrespect to those two. It's not the kind of season anyone would have predicted, is it?
It's a weird one, Paul, at the moment, because like you've just said, and Jack mentioned it there, you know, Spurs are 3 points away from being fourth, and we're 3 points above 15th. So, yeah, it's very, very tight in there at the moment. But as I keep saying, you know, Thomas Frank needs to get some, wins, especially at home, because the Spurs fan base, we've heard boos there a number of times in his short time at Tottenham, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Yeah. Lots of seats are empty at the moment, which is very sad to see because, since that stadium opened in 2019, it's always been very hard to get tickets for people, and it now seems to be very easy. The football hasn't been entertaining. It hasn't been great. Yes, he took over from Postecoglou, but, you know, we haven't really seen a lot of entertaining football. And, the last few home games, you know, shots on target are very few and far between. You know, the first half against Man United, 0 shots on target. Yeah. The Chelsea game, only 1 shot on target. So, you know, I just hope that Spurs do turn it around. And like you mentioned, that PSG game, we showed real attacking intent. But in the Premier League, it does seem to be very pragmatic.
Putting this very brutally, is Thomas Frank the right man going forward, or will he be gone by the January transfer window?
It's a very good question, and I think that half the fan base have given up on him already, and the other half are hoping that it does work out in some way. I think that I am bang in the middle right now, but I'm not convinced by what I've seen so far, and I just really do hope that Thomas Frank does turn it around, because we don't want to go through another manager, surely.
Of course, Arnie Slot might be available come January.
I think there'll be a few managers that have become available, yeah.
Let me ask you this. Let's go back now to Jack Kelly there from the Fulhamist podcast, also Fulham journalist. Jack, what are you hoping for? What do you need from the transfer window?
Well, I think it's clear that we need a midfielder. It was something that Marco Silva highlighted, on leading up to deadline day, saying we need to replace Andreas Pereira. We didn't do that. I think with players going away on AFCON, Iwobi, Chukwueze and Bassi, we're going to need a forward, I think, to cover that space and also just sort of fill a gap for the rest of the season. We were so close to signing Tariq George from Chelsea. He was in the building and it all collapsed at the last second. So I wouldn't be surprised if we went back in for Tariq George. 19 years old and can play down the middle, can play on the wide areas as well. So it would be fantastic to cover those spaces. I think 2 would probably be okay for me. A midfielder and a forward. Maybe some left back cover if Anthony Robinson is still unavailable to play, but it looks like he's on his way back in December. So I'd be happy with 2, but knowing Fulham, we can't leave it to the last minute. And I asked this to Marco Silva a couple of weeks ago. Said, if you want business done in January, you want it to be early on. And he said, yeah, I completely agree with you, because we've got Liverpool and Chelsea to come to the cottage early doors in January. So we've got to get business done early. But do I trust the board to do that at this moment in time? Probably not. But we need to change our ways in doing that.
And what's Silva like one-on-one? What kind of bloke is he?
He's lovely. I mean, I think what we've seen a different side to him in the last couple of weeks, with this whole contract talks and everyone's sort of talking, is he going to stay? Is he going to see out his contract? Is he going to sign a new deal? He's been a lot more honest and transparent in press conferences, a lot more laid back, a lot more humorous. I don't know whether that's because I don't know why that is. I mean, it's good to see. It's good to see that side of him. But
it's probably great for he's not managing Spurs or West Ham, my team. That's what it is.
Well, the Spurs job. The question came up today about were you contacted in the summer about the Spurs job, and he said he wouldn't comment. I think
so. That'll be a yes then.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of jobs he's been offered since his time at Fulham, and he's turned them all down. Including Saudi Arabia, where he was offered £40 million, over a couple of years of a contract. He's very loyal to Fulham, so hopefully that can be a loyal for one more contract at least.
Same question there for our friend Chris Cowlin. So it's the transfer window. Apart from a new manager, let's park that. What do you want to see? Who do you want to see joining Spurs by the end of January?
I would love to see another centre forward at the club, Paul, and one player I'd love to see in particular is on the left-hand side is Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth. Of course, now it's been, it's said that he's got a release clause in the January window. Bournemouth couldn't do anything about it. I just hope the Spurs are in for him in the window.
Why would he leave a high-flying club like Bournemouth who are a point above you for Spurs?
Well, it's... Go and play for a bigger club. I know. At the moment, you'll laugh at that, but yeah, Bournemouth are playing some great football. They've got a great manager there, but yeah, if Spurs want to show real ambition and continuing playing Champions League football or European football for next year, then we need to go out, need to go big, need to show ambition, and need to go forward, because the winning the Europa League was meant to be a springboard for us, going on to bigger and better things, and I don't want to see us going down that league table and losing games in the manner that we have done, especially last Sunday against our biggest rivals.
Let me ask you a bit about your injury list at the moment. We'll start with the yellow card, of course. Not the yellow, Christian Romero is suspended after he collected his 5th yellow of the season, stupidly. You're also out, I think I'm right in saying, from Kulusevski, Solanke, James Maddison and Bissouma. Are they doubtful as well, or are they out?
Yeah, they're out. They're all out, yeah. And Kulusevski, Maddison and Solanke, 3 huge players for us, and they're all starters, when fit and available. So, big players that we've been missing. And I think that's probably a thing that hasn't been spoken about an awful lot during the 12 games so far this season, that Spurs have been without a lot of very, very key players, particularly in that final third attacking area. So I would like to see what Thomas Frank can do when we've got a fully fit squad available. Of course, Romero's out suspended, as you mentioned, so I'd think that Kevin Danso would come in and be a decent replacement for him. But yeah, we've got a number of players out still.
Let me ask you the same question, but maybe from a slightly different angle, Jack. I mean, you've also losing somebody to the old yellow card, that's Sasa Lukic. Your players I'm not as familiar with. I think you've got Robinson's knee injury rendering maybe unavailable, and Muniz is out until February. Are they going to be huge misses for you, or?
Yeah, I think what Robinson gives us down the left hand side, 10 assists last season. His attacking output's unbelievable, and his defending is fantastic. But Ryan Sessegnon, obviously former Spurs player as well, has done brilliantly this season in covering that space. His one-on-one defending is getting much better. He can play better in a 4 as opposed to a 3/5 at the back. Muniz is a big loss because we've basically got 2 more strikers on the books, Raul Jimenez and Yonakusi Asari, who's only played 1 minute of Premier League football so far this season. He's been played for the under-21s this week. And Marcus Silva doesn't have much faith in him, on loan from Bayern Munich, signed after the deadline with a deal sheet. So that was a bit of a rush as well. So there's a lot of heavy baggage on Raul right now. He's got to do a lot of the heavy lifting until February. So hopefully Muniz can come back fit and firing, because he's been brilliant for us in the last couple of years.
OK, it's prediction time now, guys, I'm afraid. One optimistic, if you like, and one realistic. Let's start with you, Chris, as the home side. Final whistle blows at about 3:30 in the morning, tomorrow morning, or Sunday morning. What's the score going to be, do you think?
Well, I'd love a win. We desperately need a win. That place needs to be rocking amongst the fans. So I'm hoping for a 2-0 win. But my head sadly says a 1-1 draw.
Okie dokie. Same question for you then, Jack. Would you take that now, 1-1, or would you hope for 3 points?
I really do think Fulham can get something from this game. I think that we're due an away win, and I think we're due a bit of joy on the road. So I'm gonna go with head 1-1. I think we can get something. I think last season we probably should have won the game, and we got a 1-1 draw. But heart says I think Fulham might nick it. We could. Spurs are on. In terms of Premier League, they've come off a really bad defeat against Arsenal. Fulham are on a high after winning late against Sunderland. So I think with the attacking threats we've got going forward, Chukwueze, Kevin on the left to right hand side, Harry Wilson, Raul Jimenez, Josh King, who's the young kid coming through, I think we might get something. So I'll go 1-1, but if we could nick it, that'd be brilliant.
When you say you're due a win, you mean like you feel you deserve one?
Well, not based on the Everton game for sure, but we've been good away from home. I mean, the game against Chelsea, we were bossing the first half, and then suddenly we got a goal ruled out for genuinely the most nonsense thing I've ever seen. So Maybe we are due a win on the road, but I think it's coming. I think it's coming, and we basically have to. So it'd be a good time to get one against a team who are slightly fragile at the moment in the Premier League.
I'm going to be a jerk now because my favourite type of films are westerns. I'm an old GIT, and I love westerns. And in the film Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood's kind of final western, which is a masterpiece, he goes, spoiler alert, he kills loads of people at the end. Of course he does. He's about to shoot one guy, and the guy says, "I don't deserve this." And Clint says, "Deserve's got nothing to do with it." Neither of those, though, were Fulham or Spurs fans. We had our race Fulham and Spurs fans on with us now. Chris Cowlin and Jack Kelly. Chris from the Spurs Chat podcast. Of course, he's the host, and Jack Kelly from the Fulhamish podcast, and also top Fulham writer and journalist. Talking to me, Paul Ross, new guys on talkSPORT and on Talk. Don't forget that game tomorrow night, live and exclusive on national radio, only on talkSPORT. Download the app. 8 o'clock kickoff. It should be a cracker. Cheers, guys.
Whatever kind of football fan you are, talkSPORT and the Coral Daily Downloader here for it to celebrate.